Meghalaya's music festivals, they're a pretty big deal. The government is touting them as a massive economic success. But what happens when people start asking to see the receipts? Well, that's when a completely different story starts to unfold. It's about music, a whole lot of money, and a growing call for answers. Let's dive in. Okay, so it all kicks off with this massive number, 133 crore rupees. That's the amount the Meghalaya government claims just 5 major concerts, including the huge Cherry Blossom Festival, pumped into the local economy in 2024. I mean, on the surface, that sounds incredible, right? A huge win. And here's the math they're putting forward. The claim is they invested around 23 to 24 crore rupees and got a 5 to 6 times return on that investment. Wow, that is the kind of headline any government would absolutely love to have. But this is where the story takes a sharp turn. Almost right away, people, citizens, local groups started asking a really simple but powerful question. Okay, where's the proof? It's not that they're against the festivals themselves, not at all. They just want to see the actual data that backs up these pretty extraordinary claims.
All right, so first things first, let's follow the money. Because when you're talking about public funds, well, you've got to be able to see where it's going.
And this really gets to the heart of the issue, doesn't it? On one side, you have the official claim, a huge economic success story. And on the other, you have the citizens' question, where's the independent study? Show us the math. How did you actually get to 133 crores? You know, that one question just opens up a whole bunch of others, right? Like, who checked the assumptions? How did you figure out how many tourists came, or what the hotel occupancy was, or how much people were spending locally? And maybe the biggest question of all, did anyone, independent, actually verify that those numbers were even realistic? And then there's this other crucial point. Even if we take that 133 crore number at face value, where did it all go? You know, how much of that cash actually stayed in Shillong with local shops and artists, and how much of it just went to big event companies from outside the state? People are asking for a clear breakdown. So, how are people trying to get these answers? Well, they're using a really important tool called the RTI, or the Right to Information Act. It's a law that basically says any citizen can ask the government for information, especially about how their money is being used. It's designed for exactly this kind of situation. Okay, but here's the part that really set off alarm bells. The response that came back from these RTI requests. Reportedly, the government's official answer was that key operational details are simply not available. I mean, think about that. When you're talking about crores of public money, hearing that the details are not available is a massive red flag. And that really is the bottom line, isn't it? If you don't even have the basic paperwork, the contracts, the invoices, how can anyone possibly trust the big headline numbers? It makes a real audit pretty much impossible, and it leaves this huge hole where accountability should be. So, we've talked about the money, but this story isn't just about spreadsheets and reports. Now, let's switch gears and look at the people's perspective. What's the real-world impact of these giant concerts on the folks who actually call Shillong home? Listen to this. Former MLAs and local residents describe their experience of the festivals as 2 nights of torture. That's a really, really strong word. It just shows that while thousands of people were having a great time, for those living right next to the venue, it was a totally different and, frankly, pretty awful experience. And their complaints get really specific. We're talking about sleepless nights, with windows literally shaking from the bass, music and fireworks supposedly blasting way past the 10 p.m. legal deadline, traffic grinding to a halt across the city. And think about this. The distress it caused for patients in hospitals nearby. These aren't just minor inconveniences. These are serious social costs. So it makes you wonder, right? The government is very quick to talk up the economic benefits. But what about the costs? Is anyone tracking these social and health problems with the same kind of focus? Seems like a pretty important question to be asking. And here's the thing. It's not like residents are just complaining without offering solutions. For years, they've apparently been suggesting something that sounds pretty logical. Why not move these huge, loud concerts out of a crowded city center to a place like New Shillong? So the question is, why does that simple request seem to be falling on deaf ears? So where do we go from here? Well, this isn't just about pointing out problems. Citizens are actually putting forward some very clear ideas on how to fix this and rebuild trust. Let's take a look at their proposed path forward.
They've basically laid out a 4-point plan for accountability. Number 1, get real independent audits done. Number 2, just publish all the financial documents online from the get-go, so people don't even have to file RTIs. 3, do social and environmental impact studies before you approve an event, not after. And 4, a big one, actually talk to the residents, the people who have to live with the consequences.
But having a good plan on paper is one thing. Building trust also means making sure people feel safe to speak up. And that's a real concern people have. If we ask these tough questions, will there be blowback? Will we be protected for simply exercising our right to know where our money is going? And I think this final quote just says it all perfectly. These are not anti-festival questions. They are pro-citizen questions. This whole debate isn't about stopping the music or stopping progress. It's about demanding that that progress be transparent, that it's accountable, and that it respects everyone it affects. The only real question left is, will the government listen?